All right, so we're talking contractions for your skill analysis. All right, what kind of contractions are happening when we are moving? And that's what we're looking for here. We have different kind of contractions. We have an isometric contraction, which is a static contraction. So a static contraction would be if I'm just holding a dumbbell out here and there's absolutely no movement. If I were standing in a free throw position just right here and there's no movement, all right, so I could call this prep position, there's absolutely no movement, I'm going static contraction. All right, now if I were to move my arm up, then that would be a concentric contraction. Anytime there's movement, it's going to be a concentric contraction. That is with movement. Isometric is no movement. Isotonic is with movement. And we have two types of isotonic contractions. We have concentric and eccentric contraction. Again, most of the time, it's going to be a concentric contraction. I'm moving right now. My body is moving. I am concentrically contracting. All right? Now, when I step forward like this, and my body gives in a little bit of weight as I'm walking, that is an eccentric contraction coming down on this leg. Whereas if I'm pushing off here, this is going to be a concentric contraction. An eccentric contraction gives in to gravity. So if I jump up, the flight phase as I'm moving up is going to be a concentric contraction. But as I'm coming down, my body is starting to react. It's starting to already prepare for landing, and in that preparation, it's starting to eccentrically contract. And when I land like this, I'm giving into gravity, so that's an eccentric contraction. All right. So eccentric contraction is giving in. So if I'm bench pressing, or if someone's pushing against me here, and it's pushing in like this, my body, I'm pushing against them, but my muscles are coming in. That's an eccentric contraction. So on a bench press, I've got a whole bunch of weight and I just let it down. That's an eccentric contraction. All right. Now a concentric contraction on the bench press is pushing out. Again, most of your movements are going to be concentric contraction, not eccentric contraction. Very important for your skill analysis. When we follow through, the whole point of a follow through is to continue concentrically contraction. Again, when we follow through, the whole point of the follow through is to keep accelerating. Keep accelerating. So what I want to see on a follow through is concentric contraction. We are not hitting our brakes in the follow through. An eccentric contraction is coming to a stop. Is giving into gravity. All right? We're coming to a stop. We're giving into gravity. The muscles are stopping with an eccentric contraction. When we're following through, we're trying to keep from stopping. That's the whole point when we're teaching the follow through. So in those follow through phases, I want to see concentric contraction. Now again, when we're landing in a jump, all right, I want to see eccentric contraction on those landings. If there's a movement, like an actual eccentric movement in your skill analysis, I want to see you mark that. But for the most part, keep in mind, concentric contraction. Again, eccentric is giving in. When we follow through, we concentrically contract. Concentrically, we're pushing. At the very end, we might call it a stop. When we're coming to a stop, at the end of that follow through here, there may be some eccentric contraction. But I don't want to see that on the skill analysis, because it's opposite of what we teach. When we're teaching follow through, we're teaching them to follow through. All right? We want them to follow through and follow through hard. We don't want them to stop. All right? So we are trying to keep from eccentrically contraction when we're teaching the follow through. So I don't want to see you write eccentric contraction on the follow through. Concentric contraction almost everywhere. Take a really close look to see if gravity is taking effect. If we are landing, all right, on a jump, if we are giving in to gravity, that's eccentric contraction. So isometric, static. Isotonic, two different ones, concentric and eccentric contraction. Concentric contraction is just about everything that we do, anything there's movement. However, if we're giving in, that's eccentric contraction.